Have you ever attended a moment so powerful that it made you stop and rethink the kind of life you're living? That's exactly what happened to Representative Celeste Maloy as she stood among hundreds of mourners at the funeral of President Russell M. Nelson. Surrounded by people who admired his leadership and faith, Maloy couldn't help but reflect on her own journey, both as a public servant and as a person striving to make a difference. For Maloy, the funeral was far more than a ceremonial event. As a devoted member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the representative for Utah's 2nd Congressional District, she felt deeply connected to President Nelson's life and legacy. Being there wasn't just about paying respects. It was about honoring a man whose faith, discipline, and compassion had touched millions. She later admitted that hearing heartfelt tributes about President Nelson's kindness and lifelong service left her with one burning question. When her time comes, what kind of words will people use to describe her life? That thought became a moment of self-reflection. Maloy said the experience made her want to live in a way that would inspire others the same way President Nelson inspired so many. His legacy reminded her that true leadership is about service, integrity, and faith. She called it a wake-up call, a reminder to lead with purpose and to always keep one's values at the center of public life. But even as she stood in that sacred setting, Washington's troubles weren't far from her mind. Because Congress wasn't in session, Maloy was able to attend the funeral, but she knew the clock was ticking toward another government shutdown. The House had passed a short-term funding bill, yet uncertainty remained in the Senate. Maloy explained that lawmakers were trying to keep the government open with a clean, continuing resolution, one that wouldn't be bogged down by unnecessary political fights. She spoke honestly about what a shutdown really means for regular people. At first, it might seem like little changes, but as the days pass, the impact grows heavier. By the second week, federal workers start missing paychecks, and that pressure spreads quickly across families and communities. In her own district, where many depend on stable government operations, those missed checks can mean missed mortgage payments or struggling to put food on the table. Maloy emphasized that even if workers eventually receive back pay, the emotional and financial toll can't be ignored. It's not enough to tell a struggling family that they'll get their money later. The stress, the fear, and the uncertainty cause real harm in the moment. That's why, she said, it's critical for Congress to find a path forward, one that prioritizes people over politics. When it comes to health care, Maloy remained measured but clear. She acknowledged the ongoing debates around Affordable Care Act subsidies and the need for bipartisan solutions. She didn't dive into policy specifics during her reflection, but promised to keep fighting for reforms that protect access to care, especially for those who need it most. For Maloy, these issues, faith, leadership, service, and responsibility, are all deeply connected. The lessons she took from President Nelson's life now serve as a guiding light for how she hopes to lead. It's not about chasing attention or political wins. It's about living a life of substance and using her position to uplift others. As she left the funeral, Maloy carried with her a renewed sense of purpose. The memory of President Nelson's humility and strength reminded her that every decision she makes in Washington has the power to affect lives. And in a time when political divisions run deep and government uncertainty looms large, she hopes to lead with the same grace, compassion, and faith that defined the man she came to honor.